And here we are finally at mock 17. I hope that you're learning from every mock and progressing further. Let's hope that this mock does the same for you. So let's go ahead and dive into the BYRC section of mock 17 together. Look at the intricacies, look at the options, learn to eliminate, and then move on. So here is our first passage that talks about European culture. So the very first paragraph makes this intriguing claim that when we think of culture, we think of European culture. So high culture, seat of the culture. And the last sentence says that which Valerie thought very ancient even in 1919. But then the moment we head over to the next paragraph, that changes. It says that the idea of a coherent European culture is actually quite new. See? And then the development of this particular idea of a coherent culture and some of the reasons behind it. And then in the last paragraph, it says, for all its optimistic rhetoric, it was fear that birthed this vision of European culture. And then we're talking about these challenges to European unity, where France and Britain on one side, they pushed out Germany, and Germany adopted its own unique brand. And it somehow ends here, of course, that's how RC passages are. It's not a complete article. But then when I read that, I had this urge to read the rest of the article, which I promptly did then. But let's dive into our questions. So here is question number 1. So which one of the following sets of words or phrases best serves as keywords to the passage? So if I look at the keyword, then I'd say the very first paragraph talks about European culture and the fact that it is associated with high culture. Then the next paragraph talk about the coherent European vision being something of a new thing. Then we talk about the shared culture of the entire Europe. Then we talk about fear leading to the birth of that coherent European culture vision, and then some of the initial challenges to unity. So if I talk about this, A definitely captures a lot of these things. B, C and D were easy to eliminate. I mean, you may have to look at things carefully, closely, but in this case, if you look at B, C and D, they are not even talking about European culture. Whereas that is what the passage is about. European culture, its origins, its challenges, its supposed state in today's world. So considering that B, C and D do not even talk about European culture, they were easy to eliminate, leading to A becoming the best answer choice for us, obviously. So for question number 1, our answer must be A. Here is question number 2. The author claims that for all its optimistic rhetoric, it was fear that birthed this vision of European culture. So which of the following best expresses the point? So this is one of our idea restatement questions. So let us check. A, fear was the driving force. Okay, sounds fine. B, the optimistic rhetoric was born out of, it's not the rhetoric that was born out of it, it was that coherent vision of, that vision of a coherent European culture that was born out of fear. So in fact, the sentence itself says that for all the optimistic rhetoric, the birth of that vision lies in fear. So this part of B is obviously incorrect. C, the vision of European culture was shaped by fear, not just optimistic ideals. So the first half is right, but in this sentence, this part, not just optimistic ideals. The sentence does not even tell us that optimistic ideals shaped it or birthed. The sentence actually tells us that it was the fear that birthed it. And D, fear played a significant role in giving birth to the concept of European culture. Okay, this is also good. But if I have to compare A with D, there are two crucial differences. The first is A talks about the vision, B does not talk about the vision. And B, A also adds the First World War, which is going to be, which will make it a more specific interpretation of this given sentence, an interpretation which is more in sync with the context in which the sentence is placed. So these two things make A better than D, although if you remove A, I think D will automatically become the next best answer choice. So for question number 2, let's go ahead and mark A as our answer. Let's dive into our question number 3. So this is another one of those idea restatement questions. So the sentence given to us is, for the Austrian playwright and libertist Stefan Zweig, non-material values defined Europe. So A says, according to Stefan Zweig, the essence of Europe lies in its non-material values. Sounds okay. B, this statement indicates that Stefan Zweig believed that the true character of Europe is shaped by its non-material values. See, the word that is used here is non-material values defined Europe. They were the characteristics. They were not external influences that shaped it. They were the characteristics. So this use of the verb shaped will make it different from the original sentence. See, Europe's identity is supported by its non-material. Once again, defined versus supported. So support again has to come from something external, whereas these are internal, innate characteristics. And D is incorrect. It is false. Non-material values are intangible values. They're not tangible aspects, and therefore D is easy to eliminate. And that is why option A is going to be the best answer choice for us in question number 3. Here is question number 4 for you. All of the following statements are implied by the arguments of the passage except. So 3 of these are implied, 1 is not. So A, true, on the basis of the information supplied by the first paragraph. B, often perceived as distinct from culture outside Europe. Absolutely. So they happen to have a distinct culture. That's also given in the passage. The idea of a coherent European culture was resurrected in the 1920s and 30s. No, it was not resurrected. It was a vision that was initiated, started. It is not that the idea existed in the past, then it was lost to the winds of time, and then it was brought back. No. So resurrected is not true according to the passage. This in fact can be labeled as false. The vision of European culture was developed by liberal intellectuals during that period. Absolutely, that's true. Although I would prefer defining of that period, but if I read it in the context of the passage, I can probably put it to 20s, 30s. Even if I don't look at that context, I say that period, which period, without that, how can I say? So in that case, even in that case, the label will be can't say. And in both the cases, because C is false, that is going to be our best answer. So for question number 4, the option that we should choose is option C. So that takes care of our first RC passage of this particular mock.